welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show. We are live in our studio, bringing you the show about creating momentum in your life. We are your hosts, Jay Farrow and Janine Davis.
Hello, everyone. Please join us on Facebook, where we can be found at the Momentum Mindset Show. We would love to hear from you at Studio A while we are live. Call in at 888-994-4995. And if the phone isn't your thing, comment on Facebook and we can chat with you there.
We are here to support you to create some momentum in your life. And so, let's create momentum.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show. It is Friday yet again. And I say this every week, I feel. Where does the time go?
I said to you that being in our office is like being on one of those test rockets back in the early 60s. You know, it's like it's scary, it's new, it's terrifying, and because I'm like, you know, thinking that we're like a bunch of test pilots, or maybe crash test dummies. There's no other place that I'd rather be.
Well, certainly our tolerance for pain is admirable. But no, yeah, I mean, it's literally never a dull moment. There's always something going on, always interesting phone calls, interesting things that are happening in our cases. And yeah, I have to say, it's a full life. It's definitely a full life. Sometimes we're white knuckling it, and sometimes it's smooth sailing, and there's a lot of synergy that goes on. But I'm proud of the work we're doing, certainly. We talk about how it's not easy, but I'm not sure that a lot of things are easy. So I don't know how special that makes us one way or the other. But certainly our level of stick-to-itiveness is to be admired for sure.
Somebody told me something this week and it landed for me, and it was that everybody is terrified.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every time everybody's getting up to go to work and getting to work on time, you know, impressing their boss or getting things done by a deadline, everybody's terrified of the same thing. And it only seems that some people have their shit together, and, you know, it only seems that way. But all human beings have the same basic needs, have the same basic worries, the same basic fears. You know, I'm not lovable. I'm not enough, you know, and
Right.
I need to be liked. So, you know, I really connected with that. And this week, as I shared with you, I've been doing Transcendental Meditation that I did the course last weekend. And I would say that my stress level and my anxiety level went down about 50%. It was like night and day. Yeah, night and day. And some people are like, "What is Transcendental Meditation?" It's a very simple form of meditation. It's not guided. It's not guided. It's a very simple form of meditation, and it takes about 20 minutes twice a day, and it'll change your life. And I've been doing it for the last 5 days or 6 days, and you know, I'm beginning to swear by it. It's like non-negotiable in my day. I mean, I may not work out physically, but I go to meditate because there's something about it that relieves the stress and allows my whole being to become creative and connected. So that was my major win for this week is discovering the Transcendental Meditation and doing the course. And if anybody has any questions about it, I have some great instructors here in Broward County that instructed me. They're certified to do what they're doing, and it's a nonprofit organization actually. So it's the cost is rather nominal compared to other things that I've seen.
That's really fantastic. So here's the thing. I think it's really important for all of us to connect to a modality, whether it's transcendental meditation, which I know you speak very highly of. I'm also going to check that out because I'm very interested in experiencing the best of myself and really living my potential and really living my best life, right? So if I'm going to go around saying things like that, I get to remain curious. I get to remain open to different things. But the point is, and I think the point of meditation in general and the benefits of meditation are the connection to self, the stillness, right? And every religion or philosophical doctrine, they talk about the importance of stillness and being able to quiet yourself long enough to actually connect with yourself on whatever level, to calm the mind, to calm the brain, to calm the nervous system. I think in our go, go, go society, do, hustle, hustle, hustle society, there's such an aversion to just the stillness that meditation can bring, and the benefits of that stillness are really warrant examination. In fact, there have been tons, like in Transcendental Meditation, you have numerous scientific studies on the benefits of it. Again, I've never done it myself. I'm looking forward to finding out. But the benefits are very well documented. For some, it'll be transcendental meditation. For others, it'll be another kind. For some people, it's prayer. Whatever it is that you can find that you can connect to, that creates that stillness and that peace, which you can experience not only in that moment, but take out in the world with you, and that informs your day, I think is something really, really powerful, and something I'm certainly very curious to experience. So.
And when you mentioned getting quiet, there's a reason why it's so valuable, especially now. And both of us have been reading a book, Limitless, by Jim Quick.
Yep.
And he talks about like these 4 evil doers.
Right.
One of them is digital, and it all really relates to technology. Digital deluge, digital distraction, digital dementia, and then there's one more, and I'm glad I remembered. But and the concept is this: everybody's got a smartphone, and this is with something that I've been working on this year for the last couple of weeks, and it's been very successful for me to alleviate the amount of times that I check my phone every single day for notifications and emails. I took Facebook off of my phone. I took my work emails off my phone, and I choose to be to take my life back and not be a slave to that cell phone clicking and dinging and everything else. It's insanity. I've also taken off a lot of my emails and put them into a different box, so that way I can review them on a particular time. The emails that actually take me out of my game, so to speak, distract me and get me to do something else. I mean, all of us have this thing that pops up, like email, this. I mean, there's a statement in that book that says that a human being today with a cell phone that uses it on average handles as much information as somebody living in the 1400s would have in an entire lifetime.
Yeah, it's astounding. It's astounding. Which, by the way, another gentleman by the name of, it's going to come to me right now, but he wrote Sapiens, and he's an Israeli fellow, and one of the things that he talks about is the anxiety that is produced from the stimulation of our technology. It's not just because, of course, we have very ancient parts of our brains that are developed. We have a 10,000-year-old brain. And this brain is unbelievable. It's truly a miraculous mechanism, but it is overwhelmed because our fight or flight is still very much in function. It's still very much intact. And so the new tigers have become the emails, the threats for, in our business, opposing counsel, all of the different information that you seemingly cannot hide from, right? Because then what happens too is that the anxiety fuels the compulsion to always be on top of it. So it's kind of a very interesting thing. So, you bring to light that the evolution of technology has bombarded our central nervous system. And it has really taken a toll on our well-being. By the way, though, what I think is really fascinating about this particular conversation is that every generation has had it. I was reading, I think it mentions also in Jim Quick and Limitless. Sorry, I'm collapsing some books because I'm have several going on right now. But it was saying, no, this is another book about rest actually that I read. So 100 years ago, they were talking about the concern of the technology back then, edging on the quality of life of people. So this is a continuous theme and a
It
continuous.
is continuous, but it's been exponentially worse than it was 100 years ago.
Well, 100%. But my point is, as technology advances, the conversation is that, and our brain is adapting. So that bringing back to, I think what you were trying to say is that stillness is even more important than ever.
And being aware of how you're getting distracted and your internal operating system, my internal operating system, is I have that compulsion with my emails. And I think it just got worse over time, Janine. I honestly think that what happened in the beginning of this year, even though that I thought that I was taking a creatine supplement from GNC, and that really exacerbated the issue. But I'm glad that it did, because it brought me present to the fact that over a period of time, it's an addiction to check the news cycles, to check this and check that. And all of a sudden, it's like throughout the day, I'm looking at my phone 500 or 600 times. So now I don't have that many people texting me. I don't have my emails on there. I don't have Facebook. So when I pick up my phone, I can actually feel like withdrawal syndromes about wanting to go for the information, but I've taken off the apps that I was abusing. And I feel like my brain is beginning to heal. And in order to live my goal, my declaration is to be in peak physical, emotional, and mental, spiritual level in my life. Peak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if I start my day and I'm looking at an email and it throws me off, I can't believe that person wrote this and I can't believe they're going to do that, because then I played chess against myself about what this email means and how I'm going to respond to it. And then, because nothing else becomes important except for this email. This is life and death right now. So over time,
it's the modern form of a tiger, and your your ancient brain does not know the difference. And the panic and the fear and the flight or fight goes into full effect, and it's really hard to get out of it. It's a cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, as we're talking on our show here about creating the life that you want, starting with the life that you have, identifying these distractions. And I actually heard a whole motivational piece on this about, put down your cell phone. I used to sleep with my cell phone right next to me, and I don't do that anymore. If you can by 25% reduce the amount of stress in your life just by limiting your use of your cell phone, how else productive? Because we're talking about productivity here. We're talking about how we get in our own way to go after the life of our dreams. And if I hope one day that when I about to die, or if I die and I get to look back on my life, will I laugh or will I cry at how much ridiculous time I spent on shit that was just not important because of the addiction to the fight or flight, and that psychosomatic response. So, I think that we got a little bit technical here, but really in the last 2 weeks, that was what I had planned for, like along with my physical activity, working out, eating, I was like, okay, I'm going to change my life. And it's going to start with my emails. And it's going to start, I am not going to be the one, responding to all of this anymore. I cannot be a general and on the front lines at the same time, because you can't have the perspective of the person on the front line who's just life or death, life or death, life or death. The general is the guy that does the strategy, that sends the guys to the front lines to war. But he doesn't go there and go over the trench and face the machine guns. And that's what
Right.
it's felt like day in and day out. For, as an attorney, it's just day in and day out emails, 300, 400 emails, and it's like a machine gun. And it's exactly the same thing. I like how you put it. Like my brain doesn't know the difference between a machine gun and these emails. So I've said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I want my life back. And it's been a bit of a struggle because my body wants to go back, Janine. My body wants to go back.
It's addicted to the adrenaline, the drama. It's addicted to the fear. It's a cycle. And then what happens is that your brain starts saying, okay, so now we're peaceful, but let's prepare for when it comes all back. It's kind of one of those things. But again, the same way that you created the habit of that is the same way you're going to reverse engineer to create something different, create a different expectation for your brain. Your brain is extremely adaptable. Right now, it's kind of in that messy middle, but it's okay. That's part of the process. That's what we're here for, to evolve and to change and to figure out that we can choose the way we're going to live our lives. What we're going to allow and what we're not going to allow. And that's really the heart of the matter. The method will be as individual as it is to the individual, right? That's why I talked about the different ways of being quiet are not going to look the same for every human being, right? So red is not everybody's favorite color. It's mine, but it's not everybody's. And thank God, because what would be of yellow, right? So there's room for all of it. A consistent theme is that I always want to encourage people to remain curious about what it is for them. What is their footprint? What is your way? Good evening, Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl.
What is your way to kind of hack yourself to live your best life? What can you learn from others? What makes sense? What resonates? And
it's a mind hack. It's a body hack. Like how do you crack your own code to become the human being that you want to become? It's funny. It's like I could convince myself of how important those emails were, and how I needed to read it. And you think back,
well,
it's like,
never mind how important those emails are. Don't those emails also give you a sense of significance? And that's how the ego shows up and tries to make you feel like, it's like that big sabotager in your life. Because it's not only that the emails were important, but then if those emails are important, then how important are you? And then, but it's it's a death trap because you're at the epicenter of it.
Listen, change is hard, not because the change is hard, but because of what you were talking about the other day. There's another part of you that doesn't want to die. There's another part of you that wants to survive. When you change, you're basically killing who you once were.
Yeah, it's an identity change.
And that identity doesn't want to die. And even if it's painful, even if it's dysfunctional and inefficient, you go back to it because it's familiar.
Mm-hmm.
It's comfortable. It's safe. And even though it hurts, it's like, okay, you negotiate with yourself. You know what? I can handle this much pain. But, and I said this to you, many times through this journey. It's like, why am I putting myself through all of this? And it's actually not me putting myself through all of the change or the pain of the change. The pain is actually that the human that I was is dying to become the human that I want to be. And that death is a painful death over a period of time, because constantly you're starving your previous self of air, and it's not comfortable. And to break any habit, one of the things that's being suggested is you replace it with a new habit. Quitting smoking. People that quit smoking, like doing something else, chewing gum or going for a walk. I mean, there's things that people do to replace what was going on, what they were doing something else. And that's really, right. So I've replaced 40 minutes of my day right now, as opposed to emails. I will tell you that those 40 minutes were going to be spent reading BS emails and getting myself all in a twist. Now I spend it being quiet, using the technique of Transcendental Meditation, and it is beginning to change my life. Everything. So it's taken a couple weeks. The first week was hell. It was actually like when you quit, drugs, alcohol, whatever, your pleasure is, there's a time where your body craves it back because it's dopamine, it's cortisol, and all these other things. So it's my body's readjusting to this new normal. And none of what we do is easy. None of what we do is easy in transformation, but it's worth it over time.
It is worth it, guys. I will share with you that, as much as Jay and I complain, and as much as, honestly, I really have had a couple of rough weeks myself, sort of adjusting to all kinds of different things and dealing with a cold and frustration and issues with rest and worry and concerns over the business and all kinds of different things. But I have to say, I wouldn't trade any of it. As challenging as it can be sometimes, it is a great honor to be aware as much as I am. I notice the difference in myself. I notice the inner strength that I have. I notice the confidence I have to have difficult conversations, to sort things out, to take things head on, to show up in my life and demand more of myself and everybody around me, actually, really leveling up the standard. And I have to say, I'm really proud of that, actually. I notice the differences and the shifts within myself. And I got to say, it's worth it. And I do have a sense of awareness of myself that I did not have even a year ago. And I am a person who's pretty self-aware. I see how far I've come, and I know that it's just getting started and the best is yet to come, and it's good stuff. Um, yeah, the change is not easy, but it certainly has its rewards when you let it in and when you keep going.
Last thing I want to talk about today is follow through. And over the course of the last couple of weeks, because things are becoming clearer here, I'm not in so much panic about, the things that I'm facing in my business, the things I'm doing for my clients. It's becoming very, very clear. The direction is forward. The direction is nonstop. The direction is finish the job. And we've become very serious here in the last week about that. And you're talking about taking on 2021 and handling everything that's right in front of us, handling in excellence, and trusting myself.
Yes.
That I can handle it, and I may need to learn a bunch this year. And I said this in the beginning of the year for myself, to educate myself in certain areas of my life. I may need a part of the education because I can't fly the airplane without, taking some lessons. But then once I've learned how to do that, then I can improvise and make it my own, and that's what I did with the piano. And that's what I would say, the same thing with the things that I personally have coming up for me. So as you say, keep going. As I say, we are stronger together. So thank you, everybody,
Thanks,
for
everyone. We
tuning in.
wish you a fantastic weekend. Thank you. We hope that what we share with you on a weekly basis is of support to you. We want you to know that you are not alone in whatever it is that you're going through. And if you ever need to reach out to us and the show, please do. We're here, and we would love to hear feedback from you and know what you'd like to speak about too. Jay and I are going to organize our shows in such a way that we provide like a little reading book club kind of thing, and just make it sort of interactive and fun and always learning and something fresh. Our goals for 2021 are lofty, and we're doing what it takes to put one step in front of the other to make sure that we're living our best life. So, and we'd love for you to join us. So, have a great weekend, everyone.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show with your host, Jay Farrow.
And Janine Davis. Contact us live on Facebook